Alright, here we go. What's up guys, Jared here, and as always, I'm late to the party, the holidays got the best of me, and 2017 has come and gone. But I wanted to take a little bit of time to talk about, or I guess rant about, some of the worst movies I saw in 2017. I'm sure a lot of these will be in common with some of my other fellow YouTubers, but I just had a hell of a time watching these movies. Like, these movies were on a whole different level of terrible in my opinion. So anyways, here's my list of the worst movies of 2017. Just a quick disclaimer here, I wasn't able to see every single movie in 2017, so some of the items on my list might be different than the ones that are on yours. Because I had some sense about me and I wanted to save a little bit of money and some time, but without further ado, my list of complete trash fires. The fifth worst movie of 2017, in my opinion, is none other than Baywatch.
Some people stand in the darkness, afraid to step into the light.
Baywatch, the reboot, remake, reimagining of the hit TV show starring the Hoff and Tits McGee, aka Pamela Anderson. I just had a terrible time watching this movie. I remember I was able to see it early. I don't know if I got free tickets or something, but I do remember I got a poster, so I guess I had that going for me. The jokes were unfunny, the plot really doesn't go anywhere, the characters were uninteresting except for the Rock character, the CGI was completely terrible, and there was some dong. I mean, maybe that made the movie better, who am I to judge? I thought that this movie would hit in the same wheelhouse as Bad Grandpa or Mike and Dave Need Wedding Dates. They're not great movies, but there was at least some laughs. Baywatch required some much needed CPR and securely landed its place as one of the worst movies of 2017. I'll give you a hint of what number 4 is. Clear? I think I shit myself. That's right, Flatliners, the wondrous afterlife research flick straight from the 90s. For some odd reason, someone somewhere in Hollywood was high out of their mind at 2:47 a.m. They were watching infomercials on TV, and then all of a sudden, the 90s Flatliner shows up on TV, and they are intrigued. Some might even say enthralled by this wondrous story. The next day, he rolls into the writers' meeting, pitches this stale idea, and somehow it is greenlit. Holy shit, dreams come true. I don't know, Flatliners was just rough. It had this cool concept at the center of it, but it was just executed poorly. The story sort of goes in this Bradley Cooper Limitless direction, but then about halfway through switches up to this horror aspect that didn't really work. In the end, the resolution to all of these characters' problems are basically a simple I'm sorry. Flatliners may look good because of the cast of Ellen Page and Diego Luna, but do not waste your time because this movie completely flatlines. These last 3 movies are pretty much on the same level of being awful. Essentially, it's a 3-way tie, each completely in a different genre, each being equal parts crap and a waste of time. After hours and hours of comparison, pages of calculations, and some deep diving, I've come to the conclusion that the third worst movie of 2017 is none other than Transformers: The Last Knight. Hey, I think I found a Transformer. Just gonna pay for your college. Old Michael Bay and the Transformers are at it again. Over-the-top action and explosions, giant robot battles, a story that makes no sense, plot holes as far as the eye can see, Anthony Hopkins for some reason being in this movie, product placement for the financing team, and Marky Mark being Marky Mark. This movie starts off interesting with the Transformers all the way back in the Middle Ages, but then after about 5 minutes, this movie completely goes off the rails. It's also ridiculous about how much money this movie made compared to its Rotten Tomatoes score. I'm glad Michael Bay is stepping away from the franchise for this Bumblebee prequel or origin story, so then we can finally find out if the stink is coming from him or if this franchise is just one big hunk of rusted metal. Number 2 is the bane of my existence. If a movie was my arch nemesis, it would be this movie. I don't even want to talk about it, but here we go. It's none other than the Emoji Movie. This movie felt like passing out at a frat party, getting drawn all over, a mushroom stamp on your forehead, and having a hard time walking home the next day because your rear end hurts. I don't know what I was expecting. The title says it all. The Emoji Movie. This movie was packed with product and app placement, a terrible story, even worse jokes and puns. Hey, I appreciate a good poop joke, don't get me wrong, but this was just awful. And a complete plot ripoff from Wreck-It Ralph, beat by beat. I can't even with this movie. I've already given it way too much attention the way it is. I did a trailer reaction for it, I actually went and saw the movie, and I did a review for it. The cherry on top is the fact that the studio had to jam-pack another animated short in front of this movie just to have it qualify to be in theaters. Meh. Alright, woo! These have been some stinky movies, and before I get into my very worst of 2017, I wanted to talk about a few honorable mentions. The Mummy was just a big disappointment. It was supposed to be this Tom Cruise-led action flick that was supposed to start the Dark Universe, or the Dooku, but honestly, this movie should have just stayed under wraps. Definitely stick to the 1999 version. The Dark Tower was a complete disgrace of the book and everyone involved. It had this rich lore that was just rushed through and honestly felt like a sci-fi original movie. Daddy's Home 2 was the unnecessary sequel that no one asked for. It maybe had one or two good jokes, but ultimately it was just a big mess of a cash grab. Geostorm put a whole new name on the disaster flick. With Gerard Butler being a top scientist and a plot that seems so generic that it was taken straight from the 90s, this was just a big dumb disaster movie that definitely crumbled at the box office. And 50 Shades Darker, I haven't technically seen the whole movie, just bits and pieces, but my lord, no thank you. This finally brings me to the worst movie of 2017. No. No, stop. Stop! It was the Michael Fassbender-led crime thriller that was a damn jigsaw puzzle of a movie, The Snowman. How can this movie have such an intriguing trailer along with one of the best posters of 2017 and then show up as this melted pile of slush? It's supposed to be this chilling thriller based on the book by the same name, but once you find out the name of the main character, which happens to be Harry Hole, Harry Hole, you know that this is going to be one heck of a shitstorm. The editing of the movie was disjointed to say the least. Half of the trailer wasn't even in the movie. Supposedly, they didn't even film 15% of the script. The motivations of the characters didn't even match up, and the resolution to the film was essentially a banana peel slip on ice moment. It was a complete waste of time and resources, and don't even get me started about the rough CGI, Val Kilmer's horrendous ADR voiceover, and the fact that they tried to set this some beach up for a sequel. This will never happen. Just go melt by the fire because this is one big pile of yellow snow. What did you think of some of these movies? Did you actually enjoy some of these crap fest movies? Or were these complete trash fires like I had mentioned? Also, were there any films I missed? I'm sure there's a couple. I want to hear about it in the comments below. As always, you can find me on the social medias at Jared Buckendahl on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to this channel. Until next time, I'll see you later.